And that's when you raise your hand, and, yeah, you should go through anything and everything you want to talk about. All the middle.
Harbor Coastal just got two, which then,
They got two people.
yeah, except they didn't obviously know our schedule, so we missed meetings, so they didn't come, and then we had to have a forum to be in person and whatever, and it was, it still didn't help. Yeah.
I got mine out there.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Not too great. Not too good.
Well, you don't feel good?
Some of my family
Oh, I'm
flying in tonight. Mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was
it's kind of sad. I had 3 cousins that grew up. The third one freaked out. I was in the desert for 2 seconds. Flying them. Sure. I'm gonna say. Some things are better to say to a person.
great. Yesterday, 2 weeks ago. It just seems to be the season.
Yeah, we have to wait for her anyway, so. I have something to ask you.
Next.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I'm wonderful.
I hate being. How are you? Good. I'll take this one.
How are you? How are you?
You have all the answers.
She knows everything.
I wrote it.
Yes, he did. Go to ZBA next week. Send me some. Call me back. When Mike finishes his stuff.
Right, we're using this as a special meeting, people are here, but only been here for the last 30 minutes. Yes, I'm used to being able to do it. More than that. We have a. Okay, just show one of the things. We're gonna do that project. Because our building is more, okay. The barn is okay, well, that, oh, the other one, that one, the building. I don't know. I don't know. So you can't see it, that's why I have some. Seven. Yeah. Sorry, from Fennel Road, when you have the barns, it actually comes in. Like 7 feet at a bunker. And then it goes back into the self storage. 7 foot difference. There's a lot of some people think that there's a reason. I know. That's you know, precise. The basement proposed. The thing is, it's like, there's the, started looking at the plan. That's awesome. So they actually there. generated. And sort of, yeah, so. So. I know over here. Where it start, where the. But even though you can only move your arm up the side. Yeah, run, that's 70. Yeah.
Or are we having?
No, it goes back, it starts at 7 feet. It comes back in further in the bottom. So and then it starts at 7 feet and you get back to 4th grade.
So it started at 4, so I got to stay. Like, the whole one. Like, it
What
was
time
like.
is this supposed to be?
Like, but, you know, there was a match field, so it's going away. So I had, so basically. walk towards the
And you're putting a for it.
So, you know, it started at, like at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
I finished the walking. I stood the time to get to the car, there's line, like half. I can't.
I don't know.
You know,
You might want to say. Might be the
Well, but it's funny, it's like. Like.
yeah, we'll be down the trailers. I guess so.
So.
Yeah, so. It doesn't need to be in.
I saw that.
So. Anyways.
Right, so one of the.
I really hope so. And it's the only time why the last. It's in the corner or not. You look really cute. My friend just saw you. It was like so much stuff. Some of it, the picture, what you get,
Right.
like, had there's a
This
girl.
brand is just ran like second, like I ordered this one dress for the summer and I loved it. I ordered green colors.
What is the brand?
It's like very kitty. That's really cute.
I wanted to know what like something makes one. How big, what not to wear and what to sell. What is it called? What I ordered now is not.
Okay.
It's like the trash bag. Like it looked like this stylish and it was like a bag. She goes, well, this is going bad. I think let's return those. So. How did you put 3 times a day to drop it off?
Yeah,
Like you're gonna get.
Like, here you go.
So much.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we'll be here for 45 minutes. She's like, "Stop what I'm doing."
Yeah, that's what I do. I was.
Yeah, because otherwise you're gonna open it and return it somewhere, it's like they're trying to work against you, like, don't return it, keep it. We pull up what she. Something, well, it wasn't posted, but I thought it was ready. Yeah.
I sent them back the response on the weekend. They didn't pay you back. I hate you. I don't know if he. But he's already like paying. I think he had a $4 million deal going on.
Charlie, can you hear us okay?
Yep, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Right, because.
And they're the ones who send they sign the contract.
And this, we can get a comp plan
It's about 800.
back in 2008. Do what? And I don't know what's. Okay, then I could be a legal counsel. So your part, not your part, it's not that one.
Never get called up, but it's covered by the HO insurance. Fire. You should never only use watch it. Watch it.
No, this is your part. The road goes in, I don't even know. That's what something I had them. Copy, like that. So Tony, he didn't really ask. I mean, that's normal. The guy, I'll take it under. I got two brothers, my sister-in-law. Insurance. Right. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
My God, can I use your name? No, there's something big.
You give me my name back, I think it's probably better.
Let me put them all there.
Capable of putting it up there.
You were right. You'll stand up.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh.
It's that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There should be a.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of new ground.
I said, oh,
I mean, I was on the Harbor Coast.
he goes, "What are they want?"
6 years ago. This
You're
lead agents. Exactly.
gonna tell me it's not a problem.
Yeah, most of the time.
I don't know. There are things I don't understand.
Another was here.
Right. But yeah, do our part of it. And we're pushed out to the
Way too far along.
the Vegas.
You're not bound by.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up with Ashley.
Well, I was just applying as this.
After the open, I'm gonna basically go-
Okay.
Take the information you want to ask for. We're gonna, I think so. I think that's,
So I'll just give it.
and then we can close at 9:30. Well, no more, just what information you need. That's what we'll talk about. How are you doing otherwise? Are you doing well otherwise? What do you do? Can I get you some stuff? We have stuff lately. I mean, I'm filing out of the office. I don't want to do anything. Yeah, I'm gonna take it.
I just stepped into. That I enjoy myself. And that one.
Not working is it's a very hard thing to do. It's wonderful. But I
No,
can't rob a
you're gonna
bank. I'd
like
like
it.
to rob a bank, but I think that's not supposed to be good, right?
Yeah, probably not. You know, it's good business.
Yeah, well, shit. Okay, is Charlie Gottlieb available?
He's up there.
I'm here.
But you're pictureless. It's not like seeing you.
Uh,
Then
How do
close
I
your eyes. If you're gonna watch us, we have to watch you.
how do I look?
Actually, very good.
Thank you.
I'm wearing a TIE. Only place I ever wear this was last week.
I was impressed.
Oh, I went to court the other day, so I had to do that. All right, good evening. This is a meeting of the Village of Mamaroneck Board of Appeals. It's a meeting. It's not, there are no public hearings on tonight. There's one matter. We're just trying to deal with it and get it towards a wrap up. It's 416 Waverly Avenue. And tonight we have present with us Brian Gittleson, Robin Kramer, and myself, which are 3 members of the Board of Appeals. Brett Heaney is out of town and unavailable, and we don't have a 5th member. So we do have a quorum, but I think, let me briefly, and we also have Ashley Lay here tonight, AKRF planner, who's been our consultant and working with us. The purpose of the meeting tonight is really towards bringing this matter to closure in terms of the FEIS. So what we're doing tonight is we're going to try to wrap up and gather the balance of information that we have requested. Ashley Lay will go through that. There are some items there. And then board members may have some additional items they would like. Following that, the board will then proceed, once we get that information, expeditiously with counsel and Ashley to finalize the FEIS and put it in our word because it's our document. And then after that's done, and assuming that is completed, we would then accept that. And then there's a 10-day filing period. And we also then file our finding statement and proceed very quickly at that point towards the issue of the dealing with the underlying variances, assuming it all flows in that direction, obviously. So there are questions, but I think we'll proceed by having Ashley raise some of them for you that she's requested. The basic document will be the last, I guess the last, well, we have the letters and the correspondence. But I think if we do it that way, we will be able to get the rest of the information once we have that, wrap it up, finalize the FEIS and go from there. And I don't think there's anything that there may be some new things requested, but actually, at this point, I think it might be helpful since you've been working on getting the materials together, and I think other members we can out and chime in, but I think if we start with you, it might be best that the applicant presented. It's gone a long way, by the way, and I just want to say this because I was actually at the site, and the applicant has done there's a lot of modifications and changes and from the original one. So it's a work in progress that hopefully will progress towards conclusion in the near future. Okay. Ashley, if you want to deal with the open items first from your end.
So this was the 3rd time that we reviewed the FEIS. We have a memo dated August 23rd, 2022, which the applicant has copies of. And as you can see, the memo is fairly lengthy because we repeated where previous comments, we've noted where they've been addressed or haven't been addressed. I would say at this point, the vast majority of the comments have been addressed. And I would say 99% of the comments that are outstanding are comments that I would classify as cleanup comments for the most part. Things that were presented at the last meeting before the board, but didn't make it into the document. So just to preface this, it would be easiest we could do a page turn by subject. So no comments on the cover sheet for the introduction.
Why don't you, if I could suggest, if you would possibly, in the interest of proceeding with this thing, could you address the items that you're awaiting or that are necessary that haven't been provided? Unless you
Yes.
find the other way to be more helpful. I mean,
Well, I think
I
we'll be
just-
able to flip through this pretty quickly because most
Okay.
pages, the comments have been fully addressed. So page 1 of the memo, there's no comments on the cover sheet.
Wait,
The comment-
wait,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's gotta be fixed. The Marinick Self-Storage Building Addition has an I in there, so there is a comment on the cover page. We got
Sorry.
it. We have to fix that.
Oh, you're right.
It's
there's
not,
a
it shouldn't, it's
typo.
because of the segmentation, they're considering the whole thing.
But it's, but
No,
at a time.
Actually, it
it's not.
probably shouldn't be addition, it should be
Oh, yeah.
American Storage Building,
just-
because of the segmentation issue, they're now addressing the whole thing, so that probably,
Well, the
Ashley,
buildings are gonna be connected. So,
Well, leaving aside now, you can go. Sorry, this has been bothering
make
me
it
for a
remember.
while.
Ashley, do you have this memo?
yeah,
that she's going through?
Brittany, me, I'm Brittany. No, I do not.
No,
hey,
Yeah.
do you have an extra copy? I have a
Don't
copy.
have a copy.
no, I
have a
was thinking maybe we could put it up there.
No, I don't have it.
I can email it to you. It was emailed like, if you have your email, it was emailed around August 23rd.
Let me see if it's-
Why is it dated August 23? Very good.
So that's the only reason why I know when it was emailed.
That was why I didn't have any email, so.
Do you have one?
I do. You want to come over here?
Well, no. I
Oh,
got one, and it-
I have one here.
I just
Should be
remember.
posted on the website.
Okay.
So on page 2, the only real outstanding comments is to update some of the table, table 1-2. There is some additional information there that needs to be clarified because it seems to conflict a little bit. But that's one of those ones that I would consider clarification as opposed to substantive. On page 3, most of the comments have been addressed. There's one that hasn't been addressed. Actually, sorry, 2.
No.
Excuse me, before we move further so that I understand what's going on now. Just in terms of a process, that's all I'm interested in. You had comments, board had comments, they addressed them. maybe
These are the
did,
ones they
And
haven't
these are the
addressed.
ones they haven't. So at
Correct.
this point, it's still a time for them to address these.
Precise.
Right. Okay, so let me back up. So this is our 3rd round of review of the
Right.
document. We provided them comments. We've also relayed the comments of the zoning board of appeals.
Right.
This memo summarizes everything that has been addressed and also the items that are still outstanding. The vast majority of the comments at this point have been addressed. There are a few things that still need to be picked up. My recommendation is that the applicant pick up the comments that are in this memo, submit it as a Word document. Charlie and I can go through the document. If
Yep.
there's any wordsmithing that needs to happen in the responses to make it more in the ZBA's voice, we can take that on. But all of the technical information at that point, once this memo is addressed, should be fully in the document.
Right.
Okay.
So that's why I think what you should do now is, if we could, and then the board may have some additional items. What is it on these items, if you could just point out that you're waiting for? For example, on page 2 is what you're on? I have no idea. What page were you on?
Right, so I was on the bottom of page 2, it goes on to page 3. There's just a clarification on a street name. Non-substantive. There's also a couple other labeling comments that need to be picked up. One that's slightly more substantive, comment 14, we are recommending that the loading spaces be striped on the site plan. Moving on to page 4. There is one comment that was partially addressed. It's comment number 19. As well as comment number 22.
That's the parking
Yeah, the
analysis,
parking
correct?
requirements. So there still are some discrepancies
Yes.
throughout the document with the parking numbers. We just need to make sure that they all.
Look at this.
And on the bottom of page 4. There
Bottom of what
wasn't
page?
a copy of the appendices provided with this last submission, so we weren't able to check that. All the comments on page 5 have been addressed.
Just a second.
All the comments on page 6 have been addressed. On page 7, there are 2 comments that have not been addressed.
And what are those?
And these are both, I would consider more cross-referencing type comments. They're relating to referring back to
Traffic.
the previous, in the hazardous materials.
And the hazard.
Because we have reviewed the hazardous materials in detail, and there was a presentation a few months ago by my colleague. Went over everything with the board, so substantively, we believe everything's been addressed, so these are really just picking up some edits in the document.
Your next is on page 9, I believe.
Well, that was 7.
That was
No,
7, and
yeah.
I would say the same carries over to page 8. Also on page 8 is another comment about picking something up in the appendix that was previously, well, we didn't get a copy of the appendix, so we will double check that once it's been submitted. On page 9, this is where we're getting a little bit more substantive. At the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the previous flooding on the project site during the last big storm.
What page, what number are you referring to?
I'm on
9.
page 9.
Yeah.
51.
51, yeah.
So we had asked for some additional detail to be provided in the appendix. We'd asked about a diagram that could be shown that would show how high the water had gone on the building and what that would be in relation to the base floor elevation of the new building, just to get an idea of, is this new building being built high enough that it would avoid a future flood event? I believe that was agreed to at the last meeting, and
What,
so we're just looking for that to be put into the document.
right, I asked the question because I'm looking at my notes here, and it said Hudson did not know the extent of the damage from the recent flooding. And I don't have that information, and we can get it for you. My quote I have from them. So yeah, that we've never received, correct?
Correct. And
That goes to the flooding of the water issue, right?
right, and the ultimate goal here is to make sure that the new building is being built at a height that would avoid to the greatest extent possible a future flood event.
Okay. Was there a reason given that you didn't get any communications on that? Did you? The reasoning?
I don't know.
That's okay.
I did have a call with their planner last week to provide some clarification on that request. On page 10, again, it's mostly editorial, picking up a cross-reference. Page 11, again, it's
Appendix not.
checking the appendix. And a correction to a table. Page 12. We just need to check this once we get the plans, which were in the appendix, and then just double checking that the additional information is provided and included on the table. So again, more editorial.
Was that the topographic survey?
Yes, that should be in the site plan package, which should be in the appendix.
Okay. We still have one meeting.
Page 13. This goes back into the flooding. This page, which covers additional comments, these are really the summary of what the ZBA discussed. So again, it's the Hurricane Ida, addressing that comment.
Mhm.
the copy of the minutes of the meeting where we discussed all the hazardous materials, including that in the appendix. And then another one, at the presentation at the last meeting, there were some new visual simulations that were shown that had the correct background, but the versions that are still appearing in the document have the incorrect background, so just making sure that those get swapped out.
Did,
So,
did you address item on page 11? I might have missed it. I apologize. On number 69. There's a turning path thing and number 69 on page 11.
Appendix, so.
yes, it's an appendix item. So we will double check that once we get a copy of the appendix. So really, in summary,
Wait, on page 14 now, did you?
There's more item information.
yeah, it was more IDA information. And correcting the visual simulation.
Right. Right.
And then again, the parking issue, making sure that that's carried through consistently throughout the document.
What about the, on page 14 of the memo? Isn't there a parking issue there as well, or did I? Yeah, oh yeah, that's what you said. I was reading, okay, yeah. There were inconsistencies in the regards to the number of parking spaces and parking. Yeah, that's what I found. I found that the chart didn't.
Well, this is not consistent with the FEIS.
Hmm?
This is not consistent with the FEIS.
That's right.
Right.
And the square footage is.
But the FEIS presumably is,
But this is.
some of this is consistent, some of it is
yeah.
not consistent.
I'd also point out, Ashley, I'm sorry, the square footage on the proposed site plan. It doesn't go by building there, it goes by,
It's all one building.
It's,
No.
yeah, it is one building, so
well, but they broke it up. They broke it up into two, so I guess the 44,000 is the entire side there that's being added.
Mhm. Oh, I have a tech, while David is saying, I have a
Yeah.
question, Ashley, which maybe you know the answer to. We have this site plan, right, existing conditions. Is this part of the submittal, the FEIS? Is this part of the DEIS? Is this part of anything, or is this, how does this get considered, or does it not get considered?
so one of the appendices to the FEIS should be the site plan package.
Okay, okay, I wasn't sure, because,
Yeah, so there was a version that was included in the
right, we
DEIS.
saw one,
That has now been superseded because the project site plan has changed.
okay.
Okay.
But I didn't know where this went in the scheme of things, so this should be part of the appendix.
It should be part of the appendix. And if it needs to be modified because of inconsistencies with the document, then that needs to be remedied by the applicant in the next submission.
Have you gone through that to see if
There's
there's
no
any
discussion.
inconsistencies?
We did flag a few.
The precedent.
but-
They refused to answer that.
Actually, the versions of the site plan we got were all the ones that were embedded in the document.
Well,
I
but
didn't
it
get it
shows that
separate.
other people don't like.
So I got this when I visited the site.
Okay,
I don't know whether or not this is the official.
This is what they
copy.
gave it, no,
No,
they distributed this to everybody. Is this the one you mean?
I thought I got this, when I went.
You
to-
might
Yeah,
have, but then
but
they
you might have,
distributed,
but
they
they
gave it to
distributed.
everybody.
Okay.
Ashley, did they deal with, I know that this came up, the question about because of the large number of variances in parking, et cetera, we talked about the precedent this would establish, which is, I guess I don't think it's growth inducing, but it's certainly impacting in terms of, from the board standpoint, it's res judicata, but in terms of its following its precedents, but did they address the impact on this to other development in the area? Because I thought I had seen that they didn't want to. They had said that. That's what I recall.
well, they did look at the proposed building in the context of the neighborhood. And so they did identify other buildings that were similar in size. They looked at the potential visual impacts of the building, community character impacts of the building. In terms of precedent, in terms of considering a zoning application, I would refer that to Charlie. You're on mute.
The item of precedent did come up. Precedent and, the ability to understand how this might impact the board's precedent is something you may consider. However, it is not a environmental impact to be considered under SECRA, because as future projects come in, those future projects will have to go through their own SECRA review, which will be specific to those future projects.
But in terms of the character of the neighborhood changing because of the size and because of the nature of it. That is, isn't the case, Chinese staff case? I forgot. I haven't read it for a while, but it's.
Sure. Community character is one of the environmental impacts that is
Right.
addressed in the EIS. However, the precedent of this and the idea of future developments is not something, because those would be speculative. And so you would not be able to evaluate those under SECRA. If there were projects being proposed at the moment that were in the vicinity of this project, you could study the environmental impacts of that under what's known as a generic environmental impact statement. But this environmental impact statement is specific to this project.
But you consider the impacts by also assessing adjacent properties and neighboring properties, correct?
Well, I would say that they have
Yeah.
fully disclosed what the neighboring properties look like, how this fits within the character of the neighborhood. They have visual simulations that they've provided in the document. Ultimately, when you're considering this project, you're balancing, you're weighing the benefits of the projects against any perceived negatives of the
Well,
project.
that's only in the
Yeah, that's-
variance part.
No,
That's not in
That's
the.
also in your secret findings.
No, it is in the.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to,
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about getting the data and then assessing it, because it's to make the finding, it would be nice to have in the FEIS.
Well, they do
Okay.
have sufficient material within the FEIS to weigh the community character impacts.
I don't think that, no, that the community character is not the same as precedent.
No.
It's not the same as precedent.
well, I think
Precedent, you can-
Charlie spoke to precedent, but precedent is not,
right, and so it's not
Part-
part of, right, I understand that. So it's not something that's considered in the FEIS.
It's responded to in a comment. So to that extent, it's addressed, because it was a comment that was made and it's responded to.
right, but it's not a factor for our decision
Right.
process.
Not as part of this.
Now,
Because
is the,
you're in the FEIS, you're weighing the environmental impacts.
because as Charlie said, one of the impacts can be the character of the neighborhood. Okay. Okay. All right, I won't mention
Right, but
words.
Ashley said that they have provided visuals of all of the surrounding properties, so we can actually see
No, I'm saying,
and
but
weigh the impact of-
Right.
of what they're proposing with what is surrounding them.
And
but hypothetically speaking, let's say you had adjacent properties or properties in the community there that were vacant or underdeveloped.
Yeah.
Then they would come in and so I think how they develop could be done through generic, but it also could be done this way, but I understand.
a generic EIS is usually reserved for when the municipality is sponsoring the project. So if you were doing a rezoning and you wanted to consider the potential impacts of building out that neighborhood under the new zoning, that's when you would take on a generic environmental impact statement, because you would, as the municipality, would be creating the potential for more development. In this case, even if the ZBA granted this variant, that doesn't guarantee another property would get the same variance, because you'd have to weigh the specific reasons for that site to be granted that variance.
There have been changes in the project.
Yes,
So
there were
is this
substantial changes.
are they reflected in the last one we have here, the last FEIS?
Yes, so where the big changes occurred was between the DEIS and the FEIS.
Right.
There was a pretty substantial change in the design of the building that was done to be responsive to the comments that were received on the DEIS.
I have a question that when I was looking through this and I pulled out the draft DIS and then I pulled out various other things that I had. And I recall, so we got one document, a huge document back in, I don't know, 2019, maybe when this started, maybe started 2018, I don't remember. And then we had kind of additions and amendments and changes. And then we had this. And nothing is dated. I mean, this, not nothing is dated because everything has a date, the lie or whatever. But this talks about the DEIS. And I realized that I didn't know whether the DEIS meant just this, right? Dated January 2021, meant this plus appendices to the original document, whether this plus all of various other amendments. And it's a little confusing, and it would be really good if we could, as you would do, indicate the DEIS dated January 2021 and including the following, like here's the traffic and parking study from 2020. I don't remember now if there was another traffic and parking study later, if there were additions, but not everything is in this document called DEIS. So,
Right.
and we don't have any kind of,
I think in the finding statement, we're gonna list every document.
well, but
That is
this is
part of this
listing, but this is
package.
describing something called the DEIS.
Right, I
No,
can
with the
clarify this.
dates.
So,
No, it isn't.
so the
No,
way.
I'm saying in the finding
Yeah, but
statement.
before we get to that, we need to have it in here because
So
they're
the
talking about
DEIS
something.
is basically done at this
I
point.
understand that.
So what happens and it's a little different in seeker with a C than seeker with an S. So seeker with an S, you typically have your draft environmental impact statement. That's the full document with all of the appendices. It goes through each, you usually have one chapter that deals with.
Ashley,
environmental
I understand all that. That's not my question.
Okay. I think I know what your question is, if I could just get to it. So when you accepted the DEIS as complete, I don't have the date offhand, but
January 2021.
okay, so at that point in time, they submitted a document that had the full DEIS chapters and the appendices. That's what was circulated to all the involved and interested agencies. That's the document that was posted on the village's website. That's the document that is the complete DEIS. That's the document that the public hearing was held on. Once the public hearing was closed, the applicant went back and started addressing all the comments that were raised on the DEIS. And they provided a preliminary final environmental impact statement. And this is where it differs from seeker with a C a little bit. Instead of going back and editing the full DEIS, repackaging it, sending it in, what's typically done with seeker with an S is you do chapter 1 that basically goes through the changes that you've done to the project. You have a chapter 2 that summarizes the environmental impacts that change. You only look at the net change between what was done in the DEIS and what was done in the FEIS. And then you have a chapter 3 that's responding to all the comments. And you have an updated set of appendices that are only relevant to what the new information that's in the FEIS.
Okay.
Don't go back and.
I
redo
think
the
you got more,
DEIS.
you put in a lot there, but that was much more and different from, let me ask again.
Okay.
We have this document dated January 2021, that was the DEIS, that presumably is the one we accepted. I don't know if it's the one we accepted because nothing in the FEIS refers to a date as to the DEIS. So we need a date in there. Now, to the extent that there was a separate appendix that I recall they gave us a flash drive, they didn't print it out. We didn't get a hard copy of it. To the extent that that was included, this somehow needs to say what it is. We got document, for example, the traffic and parking study that I have as a separate document from 2020. I can't remember now if it was the same one that was in the appendix with the DEIS or not. Then we have, for example, this site plan. So we had a DEIS at a certain date. That was accepted with the appendices as of that date. That was the DEIS. Legal documents, and this is a legal document, should indicate the date. So this needs to have the date, whether we put it in our FEIS, and that's fine if when we amend the FEIS, we do it. It's not something they need to do, but we need to put the date of the DEIS. And if everything they've submitted since then, like this site plan, is part of the appendices that are now going to be in the FEIS, then that's a fine, even though we haven't seen it. And if not, then somehow we just need to know what else is being there, what else there is.
So because there's so many drafts as part of this process,
was what I-
you get a lot of preliminary drafts, they come in, we comments, they go back to revise it. All of those interim drafts
We're gone.
they
Right,
can go away.
right.
We only need the final set as the FEIS. When
Right, so
you
all
accept
I'm
the
saying-
FEIS,
What about all the miscellaneous pieces?
Right, that's what I'm saying is we have a document, DEIS. This is dated January 2021. I believe, but I can't,
There's another volume to that.
right, which is the append, which we never saw the hard copy. We only got the flash drive of this. We did not get a hard copy of this.
There is a there are
There
hard
is.
copies.
You
in
may
Village
have a hard
Hall.
copy. We do
Yeah.
not have hard copies. Which was, we accepted not hard copies. They didn't want to have to print out,
No, I
thousands of
think they
pages.
sent some over.
There are a couple, not enough.
Right, not enough for the board, right? That, the bottom line is we don't have, I do not have this. I have the 2019 one with the
Right.
appendices.
But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that those are all, for the most part, superseded by the information that's in the FEIS.
Okay, but
Right, but does the appendix that we don't have all of those items that,
So-
the parking study and the.
right, this is what
all
I'm
these
trying to
other-
understand what
Just to
has
see,
what.
what it is you're referring
Should
to,
it?
or did some of these things come after?
And-
How do we quantify and refer to them in the final document?
So the FEIS has its own set of appendices.
It has not been provided?
We got a copy of it with the original submission of the FEIS. We haven't gotten an updated copy of the appendices. That is one of the items that we called out a couple times in the memo. We need to see the updated full set of appendices. We need to see the full list of the table of contents to make sure that we have the complete, all the documents that we need for the final.
I do not believe the appendices to this, whether complete or not. I do not believe that the board members have seen the appendices to the FEIS. Am I correct? Or,
I think we've seen some of them. I have.
I think you saw it with your October sixth last year.
It's on. It's on.
I'll go look. I couldn't, because nothing has, there's no reference in the FEIS to dates of anything or updated, and I think, and if this is not something they need to do, it may be something we need to do, not in the finding statement, but in the FEIS, because it's comparing a DEIS dated a certain date with an FEIS dated a certain date, and it makes it clear that, right, it incorporates the DEIS, it says so, but what is the DEIS that it's incorporating? Is it just this document? Is it this document which is dated January 2021?
It's all of the
Right, but
volumes that were dated.
I understand that. What I'm saying is, let me repeat it, we need to include, since we are writing the FEIS, in our FEIS, when we write it, but which means you and Charlie are going to go and edit it, when we write it, it needs to have those dates and any additional documents that are either incorporated or not incorporated, whatever it is, so that it's clear when we review this.
I had a question on
Thank you.
one of the items you touched on page 2 on the parking. And the number of employees, maybe that's all in the appendix. You've got 16 employees that could be there at one time. Is there an indication as to the customers? Is that in the appendix? I'm assuming if they intend to be successful economically, there will be people besides people they pay, but people paying them, i.e. customers of the different entities.
So our comment number 5 on page 2 has
Yeah.
asked for some clarification on that.
Okay.
Also, what's not shown on this drawing, I think, is the parking which is available on the other side of the existing storage. Is that
There is
included?
no parking.
There's no parking where?
There's no parking there.
There's no,
So
No, all the parking is on the left side if you're
They're
standing.
removing
the street.
some buildings.
Yeah,
tonight.
neighbors.
no,
property.
yeah. I'm thinking about- No, so that's it.
Now, is the FAR, I saw that number seems, see the numbers, I'm wondering how accurate is the zoning compliance schedule as it is now that we have?
Right, the zoning compliance schedule in the FEIS and in the site plan are inconsistent. And yes, so they're
So-
inconsistent and it looks, and I couldn't figure it out. And then, and even it says on page, sorry, Did we get that? Was that one of the comments? I'm sorry, I didn't see this memo. On page 1.3 of the FEIS, it says the FAR will be reduced from 2.43 to 2.11. But the site plan talks about it at 1.92. Someplace else it refers to
Right.
1.91. And I didn't know which of these was the right and whether or not that was one of the comments and whether it was already addressed. I just didn't remember.
The site plan set that you are all looking at, that was not included with the FEIS submission, so I
Okay.
did not do a side by
So
side.
this should be out. So we shouldn't be considering that because it's not relevant.
But
Right,
it,
so,
but it is relevant. It's the,
well, I don't know if the one that you have is the
oh,
correct one. So I reviewed the FEIS.
Okay, so the
inconsistencies in
FEIS
the document.
talks about, it says the FAR be reduced from 2.43 to 2.11 on page 1.3, and someplace else it went to 1.91, then it went to something else. Where is it here? Then in the table, it went from 1 point, so 2.11 is right, so the site plan is wrong. Okay, I think that's the
what,
answer.
what do you have there?
So
The 2.11 is the
This has got
correct
T
FAR.
point, this is,
2.11 is what's shown in the FEIS, so if.
Okay,
if-
so then the site plan is wrong. Okay, that's the answer.
So one of those needs to be corrected. or
yes.
Just double check that.
What is the note two referring to
That knows who.
on your site plan? What's the setbacks that the planning board decide on? 342
All right, so
79.
the last revised date on the plan that you all are looking at is 9/13/21.
Hold on.
Which is significantly earlier than document that we're looking at, which would have been
Is that what you
August.
have?
No, this is much later than that. The last, it has a ZBA field visit. This refers to the ZBA field visit on 6/17/20.
I was just looking at the last revised date.
Yeah, this is not consistent.
Permit filing,
You see,
ZBA filing.
see here, you have this here, I think you don't.
No, this is this was
So I think
the,
the
it
overarching
as
comment
proposed?
really is that in
in
the
the
next submission,
draft.
I mean, this
Then-
ZBA,
please make sure that
This is
the
the proposed site plan.
site plan is
Final.
in the document and that it's included in the appendix. I don't think we really need to
go through
figure
the
out which
specifics.
one's
We
right.
don't,
That's
right.
really in their court and
Okay.
they'll fix it.
That's all. I just noticed it and okay.
Okay,
So what's the
And
date
then-
of the one that you're,
I don't think there's a date. Can you find
well,
that?
no, over here.
Yeah, you can look at the dates
I
on
mean,
the
at the
lower
end of the
right-hand
day,
corner where they're giving
It's
you the
gonna be what
architect's,
it's.
in the
what it is.
architect's square, it tells you dates of when the
Well, on
plan.
that
was
page
done.
it is. No, it's,
Yeah, no, 9/13/21. So we're looking
Okay.
at the same.
They've just clarified that this was just illustrative for the site visit, so some of those may be outdated. Use the doc, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay,
what are the setbacks from the street? It says the planning board, point allow the planning board that establishes the reasonable setbacks. Is that is that 34279? The code provides that the planning board can establish the setbacks for the entire area or just for the corner? Well, it says, if you take a look on this, it says here, the footnote 2 is in the case of corner lots, the planning board shall establish reasonable setbacks from the street pursuant to 34279. Charlie, you familiar with 34279?
Pulling it up right now, just so I'm
Yeah,
accurate.
I don't have my computer here. Very different, people in person and no computers. Because they're giving us setbacks as their proposal. And if we're gonna apply and find with it,
You said 34279.
that's what they said, 342-79 period.
That's a citation to the planning board's ability to approve a site plan. We have discussed that corner lot language previously. I'll try to pull it up as you continue.
Well, I only point that out because if we're going to be basing it upon a site plan, that sort of, assuming that remained in here, that would be, well, it's, unless it's changed by the planning board.
They're before your board to seek variances for their site plan. So they would be bound, they would have to stay within bounds of what's been detailed in the
Well, we
FEIS.
would make that a condition
and
based
any
upon our
of
plan.
your
Well, then this
variances
shouldn't be in,
granted.
right, but then that doesn't belong in here if that's the case. I agree with what you said. This doesn't say that. This says, in other words, if they gave us a site plan that had X as the setback, make up a number, 20 feet, then that's what we're doing the FEIS on, and that's what we're doing our variance review on. They then can't go and say, okay, well, we're changing it, which is fine, but they just want that understood, that's all.
So the citation is 342-15.1, and it's corner lots. And if you remember when we had that application of that single family house that was kind of islanded by streets.
Yes,
This came.
Claflin Street.
Yep. And it allows the owner of a corner lot to designate the applicable frontages and side yard setbacks. So we will have to get clarification on that and take a look at that.
It allows the owner to.
Correct.
Well, the note here
Well, they
says,
just choose which one is the
They
front,
just choose which is the front and then they have to,
and then they,
planning board shall establish setbacks from the street. Well, that's not what this says. It's not, so just, you have to check their latest comments. But
Okay.
notes 2 doesn't indicate that. Okay.
Ashley, going back to the table, and I know we must have discussed this at that hearing in whenever it was July, but I honestly don't remember. So it's math and I'm having trouble with it too. And if we did this already and it was explained, then I'm just confused. So the lot area is 44,156. They're saying that the floor area after construction will be 84,432, correct?
I'm sure.
what page is that, Rob?
I'm on page 17.
Their table.
It is a math question I'm confused about. And I think this is where the 1.91 to the 2.11, but it's
So where's your floor area ratio there? The 1.0, 2 point on the bottom there?
no.
Oh, where are you?
And here, they have a chart at the,
So
on
they have a chart
on 1.7.
with the existing proposed and variance required.
Yes,
for
now, but I'm just
1-.
looking at let's start with the floor area. The lot area is 44,156. Then they say the total after development, right, the proposed will be 84,432. Right?
Yes.
The FAR of 84,432 is not 2.11. So it's less than 2. Right, 44 times 2 is 88, so 84 is less than 2, so why do we say it's 2.11? And I know because originally it said 1.91 or 1.92, which is what that would be, and it was changed to 2.11, but the math doesn't work. It's just a simple math that I'm confused about. And I don't know what the right answer is. If it's 2.11, then it can't be 84,000. And if it's 84,000, then it can't be 2.11 unless there's something else that isn't included here. Because it should be, maybe it shouldn't, I don't know. And since we made them change it, or they just changed it to somewhere, someone seems to have gotten wires crossed. I just
Yeah,
don't
it
know
does
who.
seem.
So, because I don't know what we
It
have.
seems like there is a math error. in the
Yeah, so I
table.
don't know, we have to, I mean, that's very important because in figuring this out, we kind of have to know what it is.
Where's your 80,000 that you're getting? Oh, you just got it.
I just.
Yeah, I mean, the
this is
FAR
math.
would be 1.9.
It's the
If the
max
lot area is
gross floor
84, 84 is 1.91. I did the math,
So
not
then it should be-
2.11. So it should be 1.91. Right, so the-
A lot area.
Well, yeah, but
First one, what's the
you can
second
see
column?
1.91 had been deleted.
What's the 40?
Right, so why was right, but
Why was that
1.91 is
deleted?
right. Or maybe it's 1.92, I'm not sure which one, because in one thing in the site plan, it was 1.92, but either way, it's 1.9 something, not 2/2. So I don't know where, why, or how.
So that's something that will be clarified. in the next
Yes.
submission.
Whichever way it is.
Well, needs to be, yeah, clarified and explained, right? I don't- yeah, I'm gonna speak that. Yeah. Did you want to comment at this point?
Whenever-
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, you
I'm
wanna-
done with
You're done?
all my comments. I don't report anything else, but I think it would be good to let them speak.
And to the extent
wanna
that
go
this is our, and this is just a language, to the extent that this is our, right, because that's what it is.
Mhm.
There's a lot of language in here that needs to be revised to reflect that it's not a sales document or a sided document. Right? That's something are we gonna give some input
Yeah.
instead of you and Charlie gonna, how is that
Right,
gonna?
They're
work?
gonna draft.
thought
they'll talk
was-
to us.
You know, it's really in their court to address anything that's a technical comment,
Right.
anything that's related to their programming. All of those items should be picked up. They'll submit it as a Word document, then Charlie and I will have the opportunity to go through and do some wordsmithing to turn it more into the ZBA's voice where we feel that based on the direction we've gotten from this board, what we think needs to be tweaked, then that'll be reviewed by you at your next meeting. Well, you know, whichever meeting the deadline's over.
Oh, okay, because I'm looking at a lot of language, it just needs
Where
to
is
be
this?
fixed. Not substantively fixed, but. Okay,
So it'd be appropriate. for
Yeah.
us To give Robin a draft. When you and Charlie.
Yeah, well, okay.
Yes, so when they resubmit, they'll submit it as a red line document. We'll request a document in Word, so it's easy to edit. Charlie and I will make our own recommended red lines, and those will be submitted to the ZBA, so you'll see where we've made the suggested changes.
and then we can add further edit.
And then you can add further
Mhm.
edits.
Okay,
Good. I just want to, I'm trying to find in the memo. As I had asked for this, where I have my notes of it, but I can't find the substance of it. And that's where. Oh, the fail safes, that's item 45. That was not addressed, right? Yeah, okay. Where in the, actually, do you remember where they said in here that they don't want to address the precedent setting issue? Trying to find where I had that. We had raised it, and I think they had said that we're not going to.
Addressed as a response to comment.
Yeah, what comment was it?
So A-1. Oh, sorry, A-12.
A-12,
Which is on page
3,
3.8-16.
I'm sorry? Oh, it's in the substance, I'm sorry.
It's in the response to comment section.
yeah,
Okay,
there it is.
yeah, I'm just gonna-
Here it is.
3A17.
Sort of like in the middle.
The language that they provided is very similar to the language that Charlie just spoke to. And that it's not an environmental factor.
But growth inducing and things that will change the character are, correct? So I guess,
Growth inducing is, but you're
Right.
not, this project isn't creating the potential for growth on properties they don't own.
well, that's where I may differ, but I have a question about it at least, and I
Growth inducing would be if you have a large scale residential development whereby you would need additional public services or school related impacts.
Another potential growth inducement is if they needed to put in, they needed to upsize their sewer main and they were going from a 5-inch to a 12-inch and suddenly you had a ton more capacity on your street. That could potentially be a growth inducing.
Or attracting people to it is growth inducing, correct?
No, not necessarily. It depends on the scale that you're talking about. I mean, this,
What I'm talking about, where's that page?
Like-
Megan? A what?
16.
Oh,
the numbers of employees that they're speaking to, I don't think would meet the threshold of growth inducing.
and so Charlie, what you're saying is then that if I have something that will cause the character of the neighborhood to change because of other people will then have the same entitlement, that's something that's not appropriate?
Correct. That would be a precedent, and that is not a secret environmental factor to be assessed. That would be assessed if that future project where the precedent may or may not apply comes through, and you would assess it under secret at that point. But anything that is in the future at this point is too speculative to assess.
And then in terms of community character, obviously this building will look different than the buildings that are there today. But a change in community character or a change in the visual aesthetic of a site isn't in and of itself a visual impact. And you're also able to weigh that change in the visual appearance of the site against the positives and the negatives of the project.
Okay. Okay. All right. So basically, you've got a fair number of technical issues and corrective issues, and you have the flooding issue, which is more of a major issue, you're waiting for some information on about the flood they had. We go ahead then. Would you like to comment on this or give us some information?
Yes, thank you. Board members, for the record, Kristen Motel, a partner at the law firm Kennedy Bader for the applicant here. Before we start, I just want to thank you for your comments, recognizing the progress and the significant effort that our team has put through over the last several years on this project and making modifications and responding to your comments. I know that we appreciate our efforts being recognized. To the comments that were reviewed tonight, we do have amended materials. We have the amended appendices we can provide you shortly after the meeting, and we'll correct any discrepancies in those materials. We do have the full team here tonight, and the purpose of that is to be able to address any outstanding comments, anything substantive that the board wants to discuss, whether that's flooding, employees. So there's Chris Murphy and Michael Murphy and Bevan Falk with Murphy Brothers, Bill Canavan, Hydro Environmental Solutions, Michael Stein, Hudson Engineering, Kim Martelli, KTM Architects, and Brian Dempsey, DTS Provident, that did the traffic study. So I guess at this time, if there's any comments, there's anything you want us to elaborate on, we're able to do that here.
I have
Well,
a,
sometimes we're asked already. Hang on.
okay.
Do you have any comments on what Ashley indicated when we went through this? No, but one was on the, for example, on the flooding issue, that was one of the issues, right? On the damage that was caused and the nature of it, so that it can be compared to what we're doing. That was something Hudson said they were gonna give us when they were here last time. Or one time.
What's that? Discussion of what impacts the building. Yeah. Mike provided it. Yeah.
We have an analysis we'll be providing with our amended materials, but if you want, yeah.
Would it be helpful? I'm Michael Murphy with Murphy Brothers Contracting. Would it be helpful if you saw a site plan and I explained it to you? It probably would be a better way to do it. If you could pull up a site plan to look at.
Well, is that, okay, is that responsive to what we're just asking about here?
Or you want to know what damage was done to the buildings? I can point it out to you if you had the buildings up there.
Sure,
Rather than just telling you.
I got you. That makes a
I
lot of
just
sense.
don't want to waste your time with comments that do not make sense.
You know where it was in this? We had to break it out. It's way too many documents. We can't just put all of it, unfortunately.
Well, it should,
Turn to FEIS part one.
About a couple pages each.
FEIS part.
Oh, one of the newer ones from July. That's. It's on page 14. Thank you. Like, of the PDF.
That one?
Yeah, there you go.
That's a, yeah, proposed building, we have the existing.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you went by, you had the DEIS versus,
One more.
that's it, right?
That's really cool.
That's it.
No, that's the DEIS versus the FEIS.
Yeah, that's not existing.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not existing, you're right.
Existing conditions are on sheet 22 of the PDF. Or no, sorry, that's. Mistake. Small scale, look like a survey. but it's not a survey.
So, I'll tell you while they're doing this.
I don't think it's mine. Not in the revised booklet, because that's just the book.
You have a DEIS?
I only got this as a,
Yeah, it's on the ZBA's page. It was because it was too big to post. To
Right.
Go to Google Maps and pick up this site. That would-
want that?
Hold on.
Sure would.
They never had that. We have existing
It's
conditions
just-
on here. They don't have the existing conditions.
Yeah, that's another thing, we should have the existing.
It's
They're in the
probably
DEIS,
in the DEIS,
Appendices.
not the FEIS.
Although it would be in the appendices because it was survey would be. In the appendices.
There we go. There's a number of buildings on the property. That corner building, everybody knows, is 560 Fenimore Road. That particular building, as a result of Ida, had 6 feet of
We saw
water.
that. We saw one there, David.
Now, the building that everybody knows as the barn, you probably saw it with murals on it. That's 522 Fenimore Road. That had 8 feet of water. Now, the Murphy Brothers office, which is, you see where that truck is right there?
Yeah.
Behind that, that's the center building. That's what's called 416 Waverly Avenue, or the name of the whole project here, 416 Waverly. That's where we have our office and our shop. We had 4 feet of water. And now you can see the building behind there. Would you go to the self-storage? Can you do that?
Behind it?
Yeah.
To the right.
That self-storage is built out of the flood zone. Opened in 2015, had 4 inches of water.
So. is
When
the
we
pro-
were there, as I recall, there was a door that was shown to us in the self-storage building, and there was flooding at some point, if I recall correctly, on that building, and you're saying it was only 4 inches?
Yes, in the facility itself, they're only.
Or maybe they were just using the door as the height of the rest of the site. That may have been what it was. Okay.
It wasn't, the front didn't have to be opened at all? Doors weren't removed, et cetera, for the, as a result of the flooding?
No,
Would the proposed building be higher than the existing self-storage building to be a little?
It's gonna be the same. We're gonna use floodgates on all of them, and we're adding them as part of the building.
actually, one of the benefits of the fact is that we had the board members come out to the site is to see that there's a grade change from Fenimore Road back to the existing building, and that the new building, which is built back from where the barn is, was proposed to be 7 feet in the air. It's kind of difficult to see when you see that drawing because it looks like it's at grade, but it is 7 feet up. And then it goes back directly into this new the existing self-storage, which is out of the flood zone.
Good evening, I'm Kimberly Martelli, owner and principal of KTM Architects. One of the characteristics of the building that we've shared with zoning board members is that in addition to having the structures on the site and reducing the impervious area, which has an impact on water on the site, we've also designed the building so that there is a volume beneath the addition, so beneath the area that's being constructed, that will be used to house water. So the conditions we have right now is that solid surfaces do not house or hold volumes of water. That new structure will have a floodgate underneath it, allowing for volumes of water to be stored beneath it. So although we are specifying a building of the same height, ground floor as the existing building, we've increased the capacity for water storage on the site. That will reduce the potential of water exceeding the first floor. Michael Stein can speak a little bit better though to the fact that storms like Ida or reference as to what we'll expect to see on a regular basis.
Because we're gonna be worse in the future,
Well,
sorry.
I don't have that crystal ball.
Well,
Sorry.
there's no storage on the first floor for the new proposed
No, it's
building?
underneath.
Is that?
Yes, there is occupancy on the first.
There
floor.
is a,
Just to be clear, there is occupancy on the same level of the existing self-storage facility. So those grades will not change. The ground floor today is the ground floor of the addition.
And part of what we're submitting, good evening, Michael Stein with Hudson Engineering. Part of what we're resubmitting as clarifications is the flood storage volume below that first floor. So the addition that's going onto the building will have additional capacity within it with floodgates that will allow the water to come in and out. So part of our analysis that we had gone through and that's being updated, that's going to come in for the documents, is that in the existing conditions, we have, let's say, up to elevation 26 on the property. That's the flood elevation. We have a flood store, a cumulative flood storage volume of 34,500 cubic feet. And the proposed, once we add the additional underneath the building, we're up to over 65,000 cubic feet. So it's almost 30,000 square foot or cubic foot volume increase of available flood storage volume on the site.
is there analysis of how much pervious surface you're?
Yes, there is a complete zoning analysis, which includes the existing prior application and currently proposed impervious areas. We break it down by each type of structure that creates impervious surfaces. That is part of the site plan sheet, SP1. And then you'll see it also with in your manuals as well. They're broken down in multiple tables. It's a very detailed analysis that breaks it down by each type of impervious surface on the site.
On the chart, there's an overall impervious surface. And there's only chart, there's an overall,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, I did have a question, and I'm not sure who it's a question for and where, or if it gets addressed in the FEIS at all. They are proposing a woodworking shop in that portion of the maker, what they're calling the maker space, right? The maker space has Murphy Brothers Contracting, woodworking, and something else, whatever this.
Co-working. shared
Co-working,
space.
right, okay. We don't know whether or, and parking was calculated based on those uses. Now, Murphy Brothers obviously will be there as long as Murphy Brothers wants to exist. But we don't know if the woodworking will be successful. Maybe there aren't any woodworking uses that want to locate here. Now, there's nothing that will commit them to woodworking unless, of course, the only way they would be committed to woodworking is if we grant a variance, and in that variance, we specifically say for woodworking and make it clear how we're doing it, that the whole thing is based on woodworking. But my question is it necessary? And maybe the answer is no, and because it's too speculative and I don't know the answer. is it necessary / appropriate to think about alternative uses in the FEIS if the woodworking doesn't work? Now, I realize it's only a couple of thousand square feet, and maybe it's so small that it's not going to have any big impact, and therefore it doesn't matter. But it was just a question that I was thinking about.
There is a provision in the zoning code that any change of use that would trigger more parking or water use or a variety of factors has to go back to the planning board for amended site plan approval. So if there was a change of use from woodworking.
But that's
to-
irrelevant to us because it's site plan approval. We don't
But it
care
would-
about that.
It
We
would
are
still come
making-
back to make sure that it's compliant with the code. So what, and the planning board cannot approve a plan that's not code compliant. So if they came back with a use that was different than woodworking, it wasn't code compliant with the parking at that point in time, the planning board would have to refer it to the zoning board of appeals for a variance.
Well,
So
then
it's
how
not
do-
a-
how do you allocate the variances then?
So it's not appropriate to be discussed. What I was asking is, I know it can be discussed in this, in the variance. That's what I said. Right, when we get to the variance, if we're going to approve it, we could say what we're going to do. My question was, is it appropriate to discuss that in the FEIS or not? Because it's speculative and nobody's proposing it.
So I would say it would be speculative and there's a method for dealing with it should
Okay.
occur in the future.
Then how do you
Right, we
allocate?
just have to deal
We've
with it
had this
here and now.
before where you have somebody, you give X number of parking spaces on a variance, okay? And now this section, they change the use of. Question is, if I'm in that space, I say, well, all the variances were for me. I'm okay. No problem with whatever I have. How do you allocate, or you allocate the variances? Because this happens when you have some small shopping centers, malls, and then they change the use, they become grocery store uses, and all of a sudden,
It's a change of view. It could be a change
Typically,
of
you
use.
look at the full site and you would take all of the different uses that are on that site at that particular point in time, you'd add up the parking ratios for that full site. And you'd have a total number for the full site that would be required. And if a new use that's coming into that space is gonna kick it over, then that would require. a
so
variance.
you're saying they allocate them initially? Mathematically,
Mathematically, if you're
So could
coming
you
in,
allocate
you're a
these?
new-
could be,
Each time.
well, yeah, could we have this allocated then? How many?
They have broken it down. We've asked for some clarification
Okay.
because there's some inconsistencies, but we
Okay.
have asked, they have broken it down by use.
Any change in occupancy or use moving forward would require complete new review for the village code.
Yeah, the problem with saying that, I mean, I've experienced this and I've seen this before. It's wonderful to say that, and I mean that, but at the same time, someone standing and say, listen, what do you want me to do? I'm full, but this one use changed, then how am I gonna handle it? I mean, you sort of,
Any use change requires the village building department, I mean, the occupancy classification has to change. So to Ashley's point, that prompts a full level of review that comes from Dennis's office in the building department.
I know
No,
what you're
I'll
saying,
just-
but we can't predict it.
I'll just
no,
add,
but unless you say this is the variance you have, and you're gonna, with it, no one's,
Yeah,
this has come up repeatedly,
Yeah, it's a big issue.
a huge issue.
I'll just add that there is a provision in the code related to parking when there are multiple uses on one site. And it's exactly how Ashley just described it.
right,
Okay.
also, I mean, if we go through and we put through a variance, it's specific for this use, and you can put in language that any change of
Right.
use, although that's what we currently are, but again, you can't predict that there'll be a change, there's really no way to
Well, you can't
address
just
it.
say though that the improvements have to be, any change has to be within
Actually, the
the
issue with,
confines of the parking so that it doesn't result in a use that would have an expansion of more than they're getting now. So let's say now they have 200 required, because they're asking for what, 111, a lot of variances. You say, well, okay, you'd have to almost go back and say, well, as long as the totality isn't more than it is now.
right, but that seems right. I mean, let's just
Yeah.
take as a totally
Alright.
bizarre, totally unreal situation. The storage is not successful. Times changed and storage is not successful. Right, and they have this giant building, and what do they do with it? Well, anything else they want to put there will require more parking than storage will. I mean, there's nothing else that will require this little parking.
I mean, that would have to come back. That's very hypothetical.
Right, I understand. I'm just
Yeah,
saying,
they
they're
would
just
have to
going to
come
his
back.
question. So you don't know. You can't do anything about that.
You
They'll
know,
have to
in
come back.
that case, you could.
But they
you
would come
say
back.
in order to do it, you'd have to, take away part of the building.
No, but we don't know what we'd have to do, because the variance, assuming got a variance for this, it would say the variance right, for a self-storage use. That's what the variance is for, plus this, plus that. If they needed to change that use, that variance wouldn't apply. Doesn't matter who runs the self-storage use, but any other use is not the same use, so the variance would not be for them. They couldn't have a variance here. The issues that come up is when you have restaurant X and then you move to restaurant Y, and they have completely different impacts because of the way they're run, and that's
Right,
harder
so
to
you're saying
control.
they go back
But
to square
self-storage is
one,
self-storage. Yeah, they would.
right, so.
Not an issue.
Are there any other questions for the team? Please?
So just again, again with the flooding, so 4 inches came up during this storm. Hope we never get anything like that again, but if anything does come up to the building, do you have any floodproofing with the building, or the doors are floodproofing, or?
What's the
This is the existing self-storage building, are you, because that's the one that had 4 inches
Yes,
of
big
water.
slope on the side.
Proposed,
Well,
because you said
what
you're building.
is-
it to
is-
an elevation.
What's the grade change?
What's the
from-
grade change?
There's
Floodgates, okay.
open end pumps. It's all set. A lot of that was set up, but I wasn't here when it happened and nobody expected it.
Yeah,
so
no, I
I couldn't
remember.
prevent the water from going in the building, but the new designs that we have floodgates and everything at the doors and the entrances, garage doors
Floodgates.
and pumps that accommodate.
Can you just, for the right, could you explain what the floodgates do? How they operate during an event that goes above grade?
I believe that we did give that information to the board in the last request for information.
I don't think it ended up
We
with
gave
the
a copy
SIA.
of the, what kind of floodgates they are and how they work.
What's the,
What's that?
Well, can you explain it anyway?
Yeah,
just-
the
just
floodgates,
explain.
what happens is they go up over each door and window and they have seals on them. Like any opening around the building. Our building right now is sealed from the foundation all the way up, right to the roof. It's got rubber going all the way up, past the bottom of the foundation. So water can't get in except for the doorways. That's the only way it can get in. The doorways will have aluminum floodgates that are applied to them before the storm to prevent the water from going in. Also, there'll be drainage inside that'll go to a pump station so that water will get pumped out if it comes in faster than you can handle it.
Where's it getting pumped out to?
It just gets pumped back out to the sea that's out there. But the point is if you get 1 gallon of water dripping in a bucket, you want to pump that 1 gallon out to keep it dry, even though the water's higher outside. That's the whole object of it.
I have a question, which, and I don't know whether something you just said, and I don't know whether this was considered or thought about. And if I recall, what was said is the site slopes, correct? How many feet does the site slope from Fenimore to that building?
Yeah, pull up that page and it'll show you on the, what do you call it?
I believe it's about 8 feet.
That's what I thought. That's what I recalled it was 8 feet. And that's how you have to
7
have,
to 8 feet.
but you could have 6 feet of flooding at the Fenimore roadside and 4 inches at the storage building.
Now, there was 8 feet in the road, 4 inches
Yeah,
in the
okay,
store.
right, well, that's it, because it
Yeah.
flows 8 feet, that makes sense, but here's my question. The question that I have, which isn't that, it's different. The new building, right, you're regrading the site and there's all of this. If you have to pump water out, and I don't know I mean, this is one of those kind of like, I don't know the answer to this. I mean, it's a question that happens anytime you pump. Flood happens, and flood is putting a certain amount of water into the environment. You're not letting any water into the building because you've got dry flood proofing essentially. So however you achieve it, bathtub, floodgates, whatever it is, all the water that would otherwise go in there is not in there. It's sitting on the outside of in there.
No, they said they were putting basically holes under the building, so it would go under the.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have some that's
we're
under
going
the building.
We're not, yeah.
So basically, it is a void underneath. the new
Right,
addition.
and there's a certain amount that you said that it can hold, which was a lot, 60,000 something, I think you said. Okay,
66, about 65,000 throughout the cumulative on the entire site, whereas currently it's about 35,000. So we're increasing by allowing all those voids underneath the building.
So if Ida were to have happened were to happen once this building is built, and I'm talking about Ida, I mean Ida, I don't mean a
Right.
different, I don't mean what's the storm in Florida now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mean that one, I mean Ida, because I want to use that amount. If Ida were to happen today, God forbid. And you have 65,000 square feet, cubic feet capacity, I guess it's cubic feet, capacity under the building. What would that have looked like as an act, as a thing? What would it have
Well,
looked
we
like?
can't predict that,
But no, it would have looked probably pretty closely exactly the same.
That would-
That 30,000 cubic feet is.
I still understand,
is
I tried to
minor
get that.
compared to the entire flood volume.
Right, so it doesn't make a difference.
So no, the real question here is where, at what elevation are the pumps plumbed? How,
above, they gotta come out above,
But it doesn't, it honestly doesn't matter.
above the
It,
top of the floodgate.
it has to go over the floodgate, but.
I understand.
It can go to any elevation outside because that, it really doesn't matter. You're just getting the water out of the building. It could be underneath the water.
It could be under the water, so you've got a back check and all of that, but what's powering it? Are you gonna have?
Generator on the roof, there'll be a, there's a pumps for generator on the roof.
So you're gonna have dedicated generators?
Yes,
And if you're not around that day, do you have an automatic?
but we
transfer?
have, a lot of this, some of the stuff is gonna be automatic, and we're looking at floodgates that open up automatically. What?
Yeah, it's not.
No, not a plug-in generator, it's a rig generator on the roof.
It has an automatic transfer.
Automatic
switch.
That's what I asked. Does it have an automatic transfer switch? Because you said the last time, unfortunately, because you weren't around.
Right,
the
but then
system didn't
there's a
gauge.
new floodgate that will, that automatically come up when the water fills them up. Blows them up that we're looking at, so that if you're not around, they still come up.
And I don't have an encyclopedic knowledge of all the documents that have been submitted, but Ashley, I know you do. That's all in there?
That is some of the items that we'd asked for. You mentioned a lot of this at the last meeting, and some of them didn't end up in the FEIS, so that's what needs to happen.
So
with
that's
this
gonna
next
be
submission.
very meaningful. to hear.
Those materials are all.
Yeah,
But
just
you
the
did
whole,
get it, though, you got the information.
We
They
got
didn't
most of
say
it.
what you
It
put.
was presented. It all needs to be in one complete
Right.
package in the FEIS,
But you
so
got it, right, you wanna make sure that you got it.
we'll be getting. it.
We're getting clarification.
Do we have a number for the use of the office space?
Yeah, you've got it in here. There's
Yes,
woodworking, there's
No, no, for
co-working
the
in there.
co-working, for the,
Well, co-working would be an office
a
type.
number, what do
yeah,
you mean, like
we have that, how
It's
many
in there.
offices?
square
Yeah, I mean,
footage?
it's-
or-
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
It's in there.
The zoning tabulations detail both the square footage
And the
and for
number.
reference, state code and both municipal
Gotcha.
code
Just-
identify parking spaces and occupancy by square footage. So unless they were to change the square footage of those spaces and go back to the board, they would have to abide by those square footages.
Did you have, you asked for the parking analysis, correct?
There is a parking analysis. We found a
Just need
couple
a clarification.
mathematical inconsistencies that just need to be double checked.
But it's
Ashley,
not substantive?
No, I mean, they,
Have enough.
they still need a variance, so
According to what
whether
they
it's,
Understood.
you know,
standards, yeah, they are.
it just needs to be consistent.
Was this the 2020, the one that we have has been updated, or did they do another one?
2020 would have been updated as part of the FEIS.
Okay. Because we didn't get another traffic and parking.
There was an updated
there?
traffic supplemental analysis included with the FEIS,
Okay, again,
looking at the net change in the use types.
That's right, it reflected the new change in the use and modifications that we made, because there were more uses proposed than originally.
And we didn't have any objections to the conclusions of that.
so you said that the FEIS appendix is online and we can get it.
So the original FEIS appendix is online. It was included with their original FEIS submission in October of 2021. We are awaiting a complete
Okay.
resubmission,
Oh,
which
complete.
we're expecting.
Oh, so then
any
I'm
day now.
looking at those old ones.
I think you'll find that most of the numbers that you were looking at from the DEIS have actually got smaller because. the
Right.
details are not
Oh, yeah.
smaller, Right, so that's the discrepancies that we're just gonna clarify.
Okay.
And then really just double checking that every table in the NBIS matches the tables that are in the site plan that are.
So as a point of procedure, we'll provide that to you, and then you and Charlie will work on preparing the final BIS for the board.
Right, so do a complete digital submission. Okay. And you make sure you include Brittany, so that.
Yeah, I just have to ask if I start getting CC'd on this, because I don't have a lot of the correspondence going back and forth.
Okay.
That's why it doesn't make it on the website.
How long will this take you to put together?
Well, next week. Okay. So as far as paper copies, just digital?
I think that's just digital at this point, unless the board wants to see this interim draft in paper. I mean, it's a.
Well, it's not, it's not.
It's not interim
It's not
draft, is it?
interim, it's in theory, they're submitting the addition, the appendices to this, making any corrections to the FEIS. Now, when you make the corrections to the FEIS, you're resubmitting essentially the FEIS, right? You're not giving us page 12, you're giving us,
You'll have the full doc.
okay, so we would like that, we want that in hard copy.
Even though Ashley was gonna then make modifications on. it.
Right, that's a draft.
It's just an interim step.
Okay, so.
Give her the red
Just trying
line.
to say.
So that you're gonna, so, let me get this, you're gonna do a Word version of the FEIS with the changes that were discussed or whatever else you need to do. Okay, then we're gonna have that, then we're get right, so we don't need that in hard copy, because
Right.
then we're
and-
gonna
and
play
you
with
should
it.
definitely
Now,
get a
the
copy of red line.
appendices. Right, that was what you had said,
Appendices probably won't change. So.
but we haven't seen the, right, but they haven't submitted them, so we have to see those appendices.
Not since version 1. My recommendation would be that
Mhm.
you get a PDF of it, so that when they do submit their final FEIS, they don't have to read from the appendices.
Okay, can you
again.
then send out flash drives to everybody on the board? That would be the simplest way to do it, rather than have to go on the village website. And this is more of, this is the village question. They're gonna submit their revised FEIS. You're gonna edit it. And then they're done, right? You're gonna edit it, and then the village is going to issue it, correct? Okay,
Although we will task them with any printing and that aspect.
right.
We will send back to them the PDF for publication.
Got it. Okay. I just double checking the.
Good.
Again, right, you know, is with the city, they do it all, so.
Any more questions? Yeah, but,
No, I think you have to remember as a public here.
yeah, but this is the public here. Take comment. Does anyone else have any information on this that they want to impart at this point? Anyone here? Yeah. Did you have a comment? Well, this isn't a public hearing, but we're just doing a work session on this. Did you have any thing you wanted to add to our thinking?
You have to come up.
No, you have to come up, so come on. Charlie, can we take a comment from a member of the public on this? I guess, right? Charlie?
Yeah, it's up to you. This is not a public hearing,
No,
so
it's not, but if someone's here, I guess we can listen to them for a moment.
it's at your discretion.
As long as could be.
Yeah, we're not, yeah, this is, if you have it, we're working on the FEIS. If there's something that you think could be helpful for us based on what you've been listening to or seen or read. We're not considering variances or anything tonight. That's not.
Here's a couple of things, sure.
You have to,
What is your name? I'm
you
sorry.
have to come over,
Yeah, just
give
come on
your
over.
name and.
You can also say it as well. Both.
Hello, my name is Steve Glenner. I'm a member of the Marriott Flood Mitigation Advisory Committee. We've been recently, I guess, asked to advise on some projects that are in flood zones. So, you know.
Sure.
So we get some comments on, and I mean, one was noticed in earlier plans, there was a rooftop garden. It seemed like it was replaced by a rooftop patio area. And one of the concerns that we didn't see any I guess, any information on the drainage plan what to do. That was, obviously, you know, the proposal of water plan what to do. I think that was something that should be included in the plan. Obviously, the plan should not be. That was one concern, and
No drainage plan for the roof?
Yes. The second was,
Actually, is that correct? Do we have?
Well, they have submitted a stormwater pollution prevention plan, which addresses the roof runoff that's been reviewed by the village engineer, and that will be reviewed in detail as part of the site plan approval process for the planning board as well.
But that's an element for us to consider, isn't it? In the
Well-
FEIS?
They have addressed stormwater in the FEIS, I would say. And then if there's any additional tweaks or details that need to happen there, that would be covered by the village engineer and the planning board.
So aren't those supposed to be given to us before we do that? Or is it supposed-
They've provided a sufficient level of detail to analyze the potential environmental impacts, which are your purview as lead agency under seeker. They have shown in their SWIP that they can address stormwater and flooding. If there's minor tweaks that need to be made to that as part of the site plan approval process, that can be done at the planning board and village engineer level. But they've shown that it can be accommodated on the site.
So what he's asking, which is a roof drainage plan, is that something that is shown, is not shown, doesn't need to be shown?
That's how Michael Stein does.
Oh, you have something. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you
Oh, no,
then.
he let him answer.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So our plans incorporate collecting all the roof water, bringing it down, going through the rain
Good, love
gardens, going through the onsite, the comprehensive onsite stormwater system. So everything has been accounted for from the runoff from the site.
Okay, so
And you have.
Are there
and you
plans in the
have
appendix?
Filters too.
Yes, we have, in addition to the rain gardens, which are filters, it's media filter. We also have mechanical separators for
Right.
the parking area. And we have gone through addressing all the comments from Keller Sessions Office pertaining to that.
okay, so there's, thank you.
And it's an appendices to the FEIS.
Yes.
another. thought-
Maybe you could get a copy of the appendix at some point. That
Yeah,
has
this
that.
wasn't available in this. Another thought was, parking lot and sidewalk services. Pervious materials.
It's-
You'll, you know, with that, and we could go. Green water gardens.
Do we know what the parking lot material is?
It's
They didn't
impervious.
propose, they didn't propose pervious, they've got impervious.
I think you're asking whether or not they've considered putting more of a pervious material.
Yes.
And would you know what the water table is there? I guess the stone looks different.
No,
That comment was asked on the DEIS. And responded to,
What was the response?
I'm sorry, it's actually slightly different question. Just searching for the word pervious. No, sorry, it was a slightly different comment. But they are not proposing any pervious pavement as part of the project.
that is something
that's
the
what-
planning board could ask for at the end
That
of the day.
is something the planning board could ask for. I mean, typically,
Well, I
in
don't know
an
if they
area
could.
where you're
Yes,
going
they
to have a lot of truck traffic, you don't usually use pervious. They're gonna be having moving trucks coming in and out.
If
It
it's
doesn't
down.
hold up as well. It can be used for overflow parking areas.
But Ashley, help me on this. If we were to have the FEIS and make a finding statement on it that were positive, I mean, helpful, to the applicant. It would be difficult for another agency to say, no, they
So
don't want to follow that. They could, but
You can always make something smaller or less environmental impact. So if in this project, in this FEIS, they analyze the potential impacts, all impervious, parking area, sidewalks. If, when it gets to the planning board says, you know, we really want this parking space over here to be pervious, they could change that, and that would not reopen seeker. Because it would be.
oh, I understand. But they
Less than
also
a
could not be faulted for not changing it since we've approved. All right, but. Is there anything you want to add on the impervious versus pervious and how that would alter it?
No, it's just,
Anything else besides that?
I mean, I'm sure it's happening. I didn't see it mentioned about, I know there was outside structures. There's the entering of outside structures.
I don't believe there's any outside structures.
I saw, I guess there was like benches and things along those natures. Now, I mean, we just don't mention it entering. I have to be, but.
It's a good point.
Anything else?
That's a detail that can be shown on the site plan set.
Anything else you have?
The one thing I think, the other thing I think I heard was important, I think was mentioned, I saw in the documents that there was 2 feet. Wide, but it's an 8 feet now, maybe there was a early, above the floodplain. So they said that some of the documents is only 2 feet, but I know the saying is 8 feet. That the building would be, that was my worst thing, I guess, I saw some, in some of the, I guess, where he says, I should say 2, but sure that's saying it's 8, it's 8. It is something consistent.
Well, I think the 8 feet represents where some of their current structures are now. What will be built in its place is going to be built at the elevation of the current structure. So when you get over to their barn, right over by Fenimore Road, it's going to be 8 feet higher than the current structure. I don't know how that relates to the floodplain. You know, they have all of their elevations in our documents. They mentioned something about FEMA 26 level. But technically you can find the data in there to see what they're doing. And just most importantly, everything is going to be in line with the current structure, which is 8 feet higher than, like I said, the structure over on the corner of Fenimore.
So it could be 8 feet high, but only 2 feet above the flood.
I don't know. It'll be 8 feet higher, but I don't know.
Yeah, can one comment? Could you comment on both?
So the flood elevation in this area, or in across the property is elevation 26. Floor elevation of the building is set 2 feet above that. That will be consistent throughout the new building as well. So all throughout, from elevation all the way on to Waverly, we get that a difference between that end of the property and the southern end of the property is about 7 to 8 feet. So that's why that end of the building will be higher than where we are now, but floor elevation will be identical.
Okay.
Could
so
you
2
address
feet
this?
above flood?
You address the comments on
Consistent.
why impervious versus pervious?
With having trucking going on and having the moving trucks coming in and out, as well, we're also already reducing the impervious area of the site.
Is that in sidewalks? Can you tell us about the parking?
In the village standard is a paved parking lot.
I'm sorry?
The village standard for paving for parking lots is asphalt paving.
Did you-
Not necessarily for the sidewalks.
The sidewalk for pervious, the concrete side, the sidewalks were throughout would be concrete sidewalks. So that we wouldn't have the opportunity to be doing impervious there.
What
Plus
is
the
there?
groundwater table is not that.
Those are the sidewalks that we had to put in because of the design down in the flats already that they had, and that's what the village made us put in
And the majority of
as
the
we are
sidewalks,
now.
the majority of the
As far
sidewalks.
as the
are
parking
existing,
lot
but
would
not
be,
in place.
is there a type of pervious parking surface you could do that would withstand some truck movement? You're not, what are you having? The truck's basically for the storage, right?
Right, but they're moving in and out, circulating throughout the property.
Are these large
We have
trucks?
a whole-
Are there
it's a
large
whole
trucks that come in?
It's a whole circulation drive that drives through.
That's an interesting issue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you very much for
Thank you
your
very
comments. Board have anything else for this application?
No,
I don't.
let's dig
Yeah.
into the next
I do
one.
just want to note for the record that FMAC is an interested agency identified in the process. They have been receiving copies of our materials, you know, from the beginning with the TPIS. So just so everyone's on the same page as well, transparency and who's received all the materials.
We know that if you say you sent them, I'm sure you did. I can't say they were received. I can just say they were sent.
I believe we did. send,
But that's fine.
Proof of
Fine.
sending to all involved.
Okay, well, that's why they're here. Thank you. Okay. Thank you then. I guess that'll conclude us. If you have, the applicant have anything further for us to input? I think the best thing you can do is to move as quickly as you can on this. We'd like to move quickly.
We'll provide the materials early next week and to get flash drives. to everybody.
Super. Thank you so much.
Thank
Okay,
you so
all right. That'll conclude this part of the meeting. Yeah. There's, we will be out of here by 9:30. No, there's another part. There is another item that's come up I want to just talk to. We have a hearing that's been closed on 886 Oriana. Okay. That's the one, that's the one that has the issue that was the subject of an appeal on building permits
Okay,
by McCrory and
I got it. Okay, I just didn't know the
all right.
address. I'm sorry.
And that hearing is closed. In our procedures historically, could you please have your discussion outside if you don't mind? Thank you. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Okay.
You have to
Not,
ask Ashley what the status is of comments.
It's at the board's
Yeah.
discretion. Any comments that come in now will not be picked up in the FEIS, but. So
Okay.
that's closed.
so the issue that's arisen at this moment, it's been our procedure historically, and I believe consistent with state law and village code, we don't take information or involve information afterwards, and sometimes we take legal arguments afterwards by submissions. What we've been informed of now is that apparently there's been a request, apparently, I'm not sure if it's at the direction or what have you, but trustees were talking about this, and there's a request that was sent out by, I guess, for a meeting to be conducted, or a conference to be conducted between the village attorney, the attorney for the property owner, and our attorney on this matter that is to take place before the next meeting of the zoning board and to address the issue regarding the issue of standing. Now, I bring that to your attention because although we wrote to the village and they were notified, obviously they have noticed, they never appeared at this matter at the hearings. And it seems now there's an interest in having a meeting between the property owner, the village attorney, and our council about addressing these issues and addressing one of the issues. Notably, the applicant is excluded from that meeting. And I view this as basically an attempt to address an issue that is sub judice. And it's certainly, anyone can meet and have any discussions they want to, but my concern is that the issue is, to me, it looks like an impropriety, or certainly the appearance of one. We've never allowed this before. I know there's a lot of annoyance about this application for reasons I'm not clear about. I mean, I was criticized for allowing the hearing to take place. Apparently, I was supposed to take a magic wand out and not even have a hearing, which obviously I could not do, and I conferred with counsel as well. My feeling is that if the meeting of this type is of no import, then what's the point of the meeting? What's the point? I'm talking our participation in the meeting.
But we're not
Well,
participating.
we are. They're asking for the zoning board council to be there. And that's, to me, that's the zoning board. Otherwise, I don't know that it just becomes, and if it's of import, then it shouldn't take place. And if it's not, to me, we have a matter that's sub judice, and to have a meeting where our council goes together with someone, two parties who apparently are opposed to the application, not having the applicant, I don't understand this. I find this to be, I look at this, I think it could prejudice and taint whatever we decide.
Mr. Chairman, if I
Just
may,
a second, you may not yet, just a moment. Let the board speak first. I know your position, it's clear.
I'm going to suggest that this conversation be done in advice of counsel session.
Why? I don't think so. Not a secret thing. That makes it even worse, doesn't it? I'm asking you, I know your position, but why would we do that way? This was not privileged, the whole issue here. It was not sent that way. I don't know. Tell me why. Tell me why it's the advice account. It's a public thing. Then we're going to conceal it. That's from the applicant. All I know is this, I don't want to taint our findings and our position, our
How is,
deliberation.
I don't understand how our council historically, zoning board council
Yeah.
has often met with applicants. That has happened in the past.
When there's a
They've met
closed
with
hearing to
applicants.
discuss an
They've
issue.
met, absolutely. They've done
Really?
it for years.
I've never heard of it once. So
Because it
you'll-
wouldn't have come up
I
to you.
spent 28 years on this board. I have never in my life heard of zoning board council on a closed hearing meeting to discuss an issue that's sub judice. And not including the applicant, but only the opposition meeting. Yeah, I have never heard that. So I will make that the record. And I would welcome any suggestion you have as to events that have. been
I don't know
contrary.
specifically, but it's always occurred, I've always seen that council has talked. Maybe they haven't met, they've done it on the phone. They've certainly had conversations with applicants and other parties during the processing of an application. That's
After
happened.
it's closed hearing? Not for
Whenever,
giving information? Have you ever
Whenever.
discussed the legal issues of matters with counsel for one side and not with the other?
Is that a question for me?
Yes, it is.
I have had, any time an attorney or an applicant calls me, I do have a discussion with them. There are no deliberations in those discussions as I am not a member of the board. I am an attorney to the board. To the extent someone wants to have a discussion with the attorney of the board, they are welcome to. That is one of my roles.
Your
There
role
may
is-
be
Yeah, go ahead.
there may be impropriety if I was a voting member or if I had partook in any deliberations, but I don't. I'm the attorney for this board, not a board member.
But then how do you take information and you're at a meeting with part of the group that's been here, and not the applicant, but the others? And you're taking in information and you're listening. You're a human being. That knowledge is then imparted to you, whatever it is. I have no idea. I mean, you're not going to be a wallflower. That's certainly not what we want council to do. What I'm trying to understand is, what's the point of this? What is the purpose of this? Have you ever met with council or conferred with council on a matter on a substantive issue that's the subject of a closed hearing before?
I have
I'm
done,
not aware if you have.
I have done it in representation of this board, and I have done it in representation in other parts of my career when I represent applicants throughout the state.
But so in this board representing us, you've conferred with counsel for the other side or counsel for somebody, I don't know what the other side means, counsel discussing the substance of the legal issues that we have before us? on the
For
hearing?
example, if we look back to the application of 576 Mamaroneck Avenue, where there was a question of whether or not parking variances were needed. After the public hearing was closed, I was able to work out that issue with the applicant for the attorney, or the attorney for the applicant, rather. Those are the functions of the attorney, to have correspondences with any other attorney who is an interested party. I am not permitted by law to have any correspondences with a party who has an attorney, right? So I wouldn't do that. I have been asked to have a phone conversation with the village attorney as well as the attorney for the property owner in this matter. And once again, I think this conversation should be had in advice of counsel session. I have talked to my colleagues. There is certainly nothing wrong with this. Now, if a majority of this board would rather me not partake in those communications, that is also fine, right? I am here at your discretion. If that is your determination, then that is your determination.
Why is it that did you not want the applicant present?
I wasn't asked to have a conversation with the applicant or the applicant's attorney. I'm happy to. I have had conversations with Mr. Teekert, not related to this matter, but other matters in the past. And his attorney when he was represented by counsel.
See, I'll be very candid with you. I understand the issue of standing. I mean, I haven't researched it recently. I've read a lot of the things. But when you have an
David,
issue
could
that
we
was,
not discuss substance here
I'm
at
not
all?
discussing substance. I'm saying, I don't know what you want me. I'll talk non-substantively. I'll say nothing. But what I'll say is this, that there's a hearing here. It was closed. As I have always understood it, once the hearing is closed, we don't discuss matters. I view you as an extension as counsel. To me, it's highly irregular and certainly, in my opinion, unprecedented for counsel of the board to meet with people who did not come to the meeting to oppose it and to have and to confer on that level without the applicant there. I think with the applicant there, but that's obvious. If they can resolve their matters all together, God bless. But if they can't, I don't know why that would be. I just don't. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it helps. All I can see is a tainting and a prejudice and an impropriety, or certainly the appearance of one. But that's my view. Maybe we should have, and it's contrary to all of our procedures. And no, and I think the one example you gave is where there was a parking variance. There was a question about that. We asked, could someone look into that and find out, is it necessary or not? And that had to do with the time that the building was purchased, correct? At the time that it was built. That it was grandfathered.
That example was used to show you that there have been attorney communications after a public hearing has been closed.
This is on a contested matter. And we're eliminating the applicant. I don't know.
I can tell you that
I certainly I'm on the record. I don't think it's proper. I think it hurts no matter what side we come out on this. Because I don't see how it helps us. To me, it's just, you just have an issue that's going to be there. That's my view. Okay. Brian, you have any comments?
I think,
Robin?
listen, I think that we had a full hearing with full opportunity for all attorneys, applicants and such to provide whatever information verbally and in writing, to the matter, to the substance of the matter. So subsequent to that, I don't see what the point is. I think that there actually is a truth in the fact, that Dave said, it could give an appearance of impropriety. But then again, I don't really know what appearances really weigh. As far as I'm concerned, bottom line, I don't care. I've heard what I've heard in the hearing, and that's the only thing I'm going to be considering when, God bless you, when, weighing in on, whether or not I feel they've met their thresholds on the substantive issues. So again, I don't know what the point is. I do understand Dave's point of view. I'm not going to stop anybody from having a conversation, but it is a little odd because, I mean, this isn't a new issue. We've had extensive hearings on this. We've had extensive amount of material provided to us by you, our attorney, by the applicant's attorney, legal points of view from also the people who are defending their current permit. and such. So again, I definitely see your point, Dave. I don't understand what the meeting is, but then again, I don't think it's going to affect.
Well, it's an interesting point you say, but what happens if there's a proposal of some type made as to what we should do and not do? Does
Doesn't
Charlie
affect,
commu?
No, I'm gonna,
Does Charlie
I'm gonna tell,
communicate
I'm gonna
that to
tell
us?
you very clearly,
you.
okay? I'm gonna tell you very clearly. I have already been given every case that I need to weigh in on what I think is important and not important. If somebody goes and proposes new cases or new information at this point, I'm going to disregard it. If it has not already been subject to the hearing, then it's not information I'm going to take in. And I'm going to keep myself focused on exactly what we have been provided to date. I have a list of cases that Charlie gave us. I have a list of cases that the homeowners gave us. I have things that both Mr. Teekert and Ms. McCrory have given us. And I think we need to stay in those lines. If something now comes up at this meeting, none of that should come in. That's completely inappropriate if there's something new that comes in, and I'm not going to consider it.
But I'm saying.
That's just my personal, that's
I
just my
understand what-
personal.
I
reason.
understand what you're saying, but what if there's a process or a procedure, where someone's suggesting something? Then it becomes, well, how do we find it out? What do we do with it?
I don't understand. I mean, to me, that doesn't seem to be an issue. To me, it's very clear. A board makes a decision and we're going to make
Right,
our decision based on what we heard at the hearing, the evidence, the materials that were
Right.
submitted by both sides
Right.
and our counsel at the hearings. To the best of my knowledge, on all previous councils, when applicants, other people call the councils up, they ask questions. Council sits down with them and to answer their questions. Such questions, they come up when they come up. And the council doing that does not affect anything that the board or that I may make a decision of. So I don't even know what the point of this meeting is, other than they want to meet.
No,
We don't
we
know.
do know what the
That's-
point is. The point
that's
is
the
they want to
whole
meet
thing.
about discussing standing,
How do you know?
because they put it in writing.
They sent a written letter asking for a
Yes,
meeting?
yes.
Okay, well, I don't know. I
It
didn't
says,
see
and
that
to
letter.
discuss standing before the next meeting. My point is, if they discuss it, I mean, or do we
Wasn't
want?
The wording of the email, the wording was discussion of why standing hasn't been established. It was not about. this.
That's a very
That's
different
incorrect. That's
What is it?
question.
What is what you said? I'm sorry.
They were there to discuss why standing has not been established. If that wasn't exactly worded, this was something.
That's not how it was worded. I mean, you wrote this because you got the direction to do that.
Clearly have it. I'm well aware.
Well, it says to discuss standing before, but I guess my answer to that is, that just concerns me more, because why wasn't, my answer, why weren't they here to discuss standing? This is where the open meetings law is. This is where the public
But they're
hearing is.
asking
Excuse me,
counsel.
but they weren't there. The people who were meeting weren't there. Bob Spilzino has been here to argue on behalf of the village before. We've had that. My point is, I don't know where this goes, because is there a reason? What about this? Would you have a concern? Should we have counsel ask the applicant if they will attend?
But see, my whole point is
It doesn't matter.
that I'm
Why
not
not?
going to change, the next
Right.
meeting, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna
Okay.
deliberate, and we're
Right.
gonna stay within
Based
the
on what we
information
heard.
we have.
Right,
And any new thing is going to be
no, and
not accepted.
right.
We're not reopening. We're not
Charlie isn't
reopening.
going to give us, well, they said to me, I assume, I don't expect, and certainly if Charlie tried to come to the meeting and say, well, they said when I met with them X, we would say to Charlie, we don't care what they said
Right.
to you. So I don't see this as a problem.
Gotcha.
I mean, Charlie could be saying to
I
them,
understand you.
for all we know, Charlie's gonna meet with them and say, I'm sorry, I'm happy to meet with you, but I can't say anything to you because it's not up to me.
And if they make proposals, he brings them back to us?
He can't. The
I'm not
hearing is
gonna consider it.
closed.
I understand.
That's exactly
I
what I'm trying to
understand.
say.
But he may
Yes.
have a procedure. Who knows? I have no idea.
But
Okay.
doesn't, I'm not worried about it because I'm not gonna be considering it.
Right.
And
That's my
and
whole
if they
point.
have a new thing to consider, then we would reopen the hearing and do it all again.
We would,
Or not, but we would just.
yeah, but that's our discretion.
Correct.
But they shouldn't, but you know what? But that shouldn't be going through them.
No, it wouldn't be. It would be if they had, if for some reason
It's a
they came up,
closed-
they,
It-
yes,
It's,
but-
it's a
but
closed hearing.
hearings, hearings get reopened and there's ways to do it and there's a process. So if for some reason, I'm not saying they're going to, but if there was a reason to, then we have to reopen the hearing and then we would get the information. We wouldn't get the information before the hearing was reopened and presented at the meeting. I mean, let's just assume that at this meeting, they have some brand new piece of information that they didn't have before. I don't know what it is.
And
I
they
have no
should
clue.
be asking to open the hearing.
Then they, right. so
Exactly,
then-
they did.
and
They
what right, so they meet with Charlie and Charlie says to them, well, that's interesting, but if you want that board to consider that, you're gonna have to have them reopen the hearing.
Right.
And that's what
So
he
then
says
he
to them.
comes back and says they want to open the hearing again. And he tells us that. And the applicant says, when did this happen? What
No, but
happened?
even when did this, in order for Charlie to tell us, the Apple, we don't reopen it just on our own sua sponte. If somebody wants us to reopen the hearing, they'd have to come to the board and make a motion or make a request to the board to reopen the hearing.
Are
At
you
that
aware
point
that
in
before,
time-
yeah. Are you aware that before the hearing, I wrote and I told the village when they were all over me, somebody, and I said, so you're welcome to come, you should be at the meeting. I wrote that. I sent you copies of the letters to come to the meeting. That's what open meetings law is about. That's, but fine. I
But
understand. your-
Charlie's
I-
not, I hear not a person who holds a hearing. Charlie's.
He's our
counsel.
counsel.
I don't have a problem with it.
I know. Okay. I do. You don't. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Are you gonna tell us what happens at the meeting, Charlie, or is that
I
something?
don't want to know.
You don't want
Yeah,
to?
I
actually, I don't
absolutely don't
either.
want to know.
Okay.
I don't want to,
So,
I'm
I-
considering this, it's a closed matter and I'm
Right.
not,
So Charlie,
want no
do we
more
all concur
information.
on that? That we do not want to know what occurs at
Correct.
the
That's
meeting?
whole
So
point.
I would just say this for the sake of my reputation. I provide this board with legal advice on every single application. My legal advice to this board doesn't change with who I speak to unless I feel like it has to change. Sometimes this board doesn't agree with my legal advice. Sometimes the applicant doesn't agree with my legal advice. I am here to provide this board with the most accurate legal advice that I can. The fact that I'm simply having a phone call is not going to change that, right? But if this board does not want me to engage in those conversations, certainly I won't.
See,
So
I think the problem is, taking the statement that you just made. If somebody had legal arguments to bring up because they felt that they were relevant and necessary to be part of the discussion, why wasn't it brought up during the meetings? Why then, let's say, bring it up to you? Now, I don't know what the substance of the phone call is going to be. They may call you up and say, hey, you're a great guy. We just wanted you to know. I don't know, but it is something that if they had legal arguments, they've either already made them or they should have made them at the time. So I do kind of agree with Dave that, let's say your opinions change. It's kind of
But we will-
late.
Sticking a hole for them.
Right, but we've already got his recommendation. We had the
Right, so
memo.
I kind
No,
of,
no,
so I
and
think
then
we're
what's
all,
the- that's why I
we're
said to
all kind of in agreement
If-
that
yeah.
if something comes out, we don't really want to know about.
Correct, so that's why leave us out. Don't tell
Right,
us
but
what
I- But I
happened.
Yeah, but
think,
that's-
but I think Charlie is trying to say
Yeah.
that he has a responsibility to this board that any information, regardless of when he gets it, if he feels that it is in fact correct legal advice, that he's going to have to advise us.
So there are, and this is something I will not express unless it's an attorney counsel session. And please call me tomorrow if you want to discuss further. There are instances where it is in the best interest of this board for me to take such phone calls so that this board can be prepared for legally what might occur after a determination is made and be prepared for that, right? That's a hypothetical that we can plan for in advance. And so if we would like to further those conversations, you're all welcome to call me.
Want to have a council session with them? I don't care. I just don't understand. I just think this is a Pandora's box that's being opened for no reason. And quite frankly, I'm not even sure who it helps or hurts. Because I think, as I said to you earlier, If it's a meaningless communication, then it shouldn't take place. And if it's meaningful, I think it was Brian probably, but that's almost worse. It's like, I don't know. This is why I've never seen this done. And they've actually identified an issue that nobody, it's like if somebody said, I didn't go to the hearings, but I want to talk to council about it. They do it.
I'm
You
sure
know
there
our
are people who
opinion,
do
you know.
that, honestly.
I'm sorry?
I'm sure there are people. who
I have
do
no
that.
idea.
Right, because you don't always know when somebody calls up council. When I was chair, there was a point in time at which I learned afterwards that somebody had called up council and had a long discussion about certain things with council. I never even knew
That's
that.
improper, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's been done.
I think that these things are just gonna muddy waters, because if you get, at least have the applicant on the call. The fact that they don't have a lawyer is of no consequence. They're pro se. You don't get to punish somebody for that.
I don't think he's saying that.
Oh, whatever. Okay. Do you have a sense of the board on this or not?
To be honest, not really.
Yeah,
Not really.
I think Charlie, I heard what you just said. And I think you also, you said that you invited any of us to talk to you afterwards if we so choose.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to talk now? We can go council now. We can go confer with council. Is there a room we can go someplace?
I don't know.
How do we confer with you now?
I think we stopped the public hearing.
I think you could stop the recording in public.
Don't want me here and I have to clean up the
Oh.
courtroom, so
Go into a room?
But we don't have Charlie in
I
that
have to
room.
wait for that.
Put them on a phone.
Oh, yeah, we can put him on the phone, and that's the reason why we need Charlie here.
Yep.
You
You are right.
You could do an executive session with them tomorrow.
We don't need an executive.
Do that
No, this is.
online.
No advice of
We
counsel.
don't need a executive. What's a number, Charlie? I think we're gonna close this meeting now, correct? Or not?
Did we even open it?
Yeah.
I think it was just a work session.
No, we opened the work session. I mean, Charlie, do you want to vote on the board on this and what they think or not?
I do not think it's necessary.
I'm asking Charlie what he wants.
This is a very unique circumstance. If the board would like to take a vote on whether or not I can have this conversation, that's fine. You know, if it is really this large of an issue, I don't have to take this phone call, right? It's a
No, I think that
really,
Charlie, you know what? I'm not, I think. My personal preference is that, consistent with everything I've ever seen on this board for over 25 years. No, it's an unusual for someone who didn't make the public. I mean, I think that the precedent then is if somebody next month on a hearing that was closed wants to talk and they didn't make the meeting, you get a private meeting with them. I guess, I don't know. The other thing is that it just, at least have the applicant there. That maybe has a big difference in it. Then everybody can confer on that together.
I
I don't know.
I've seen many times when during matters, attorneys will call other attorneys. And
Right.
Our attorney's allegiance is to us, and if there's information that may help us not with our deliberations, but in the future,
Yeah.
there's, so
You're right. Except for one thing, and I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I did.
no, you didn't interrupt.
I
me.
did, and I'm sorry. I apologize for that. But it would be like me calling up a judge and saying, but what quasi judicial?
But it
I'm
isn't.
saying,
I'm not the judge.
Excuse me, calling up the judge's law clerk and asking to confer.
But it's not, this isn't the court, right? And so
No, you're right. We're not quite,
every-
I don't,
every day in my practice, this is normal procedures for every single mortgage application that I've done for the past 12 years all across the state. This is not new.
you want me to put them on? Well, go in the, all right, you want to close the meeting?
We could
And
close
then
the
we'll-
meeting.
They can have
we'll
advice
take-
of counsel
Yes.
All right,
session.
we're gonna have it, we'll
I
adjourn to
would-
an
I
advice
would-
of council
I would like
session.
that.
All right, let's go to.
We'll call.
We're gonna adjourn the meeting at this moment. We're gonna recess at this moment for the rights of council.
I think, does someone have my cell phone number? Okay.